and thank you for joining us today in our second webinar of the IEEE Women in Engineering Emerging Innovation on Entrepreneurship series. Today's topic is a really exciting topic, personally for me, and I imagine for everybody in here, from speakers to participants. Today we're going to be talking about harnessing emerging technologies, AI, cybersecurity, and digital transformation. AI, big data, multi-cloud architecture, micro SaaS, and full stack web development. She currently serves as a principal architect at an edtech company and co-founder of CloudPack. She is in the forefront of revolutionizing education through AI-powered personalized learning and automating cloud services integration. Madhu, she's also passionate about technology advisory and mentorship. She acts as a technology advisor to multiple startups, and she is committed to mentoring aspiring female technologists. Her session, her keynote will be about leveraging AI and machine learning for digital transformation in education. Without further ado, I will hand it over to you, Madhu. Thank you for joining us, and the stage is yours.
All right, cool. Let me first start sharing my screen. All right, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss how we are leveraging AI and machine learning techniques to transform some of the tools and methodologies that we have in the education space. But before we dive right into that particular topic, let me give you a little something about me. To put it simply, I'm an engineer who loves to solve problems. So that kept me going from an intern who got recruited fresh out of the college to a principal architect and a co founder of an AI based company. My first program, I still remember very clearly, that was to code for a VLSI design for a little science project for optical fiber communications. Since then, I loved programming and I have about over like 17 years of experience now, spanning across various industries like fintech, communications, and education, etc. Other than the usual, I play various roles such as researcher, mentor, and technology advisor to various companies to keep it exciting for me. Well, that's all about me. And now let's take a look at what has been AI doing for all these years and how it has emerged so far. So, AI has been an area of research from a very, very long time. So, it was primarily used for specific tasks like image recognition, predictive analysis, and automation. For example, in the earlier days, Google used AI for contextualizing the search queries that were entered in the search box and improve the search results that they are offering to the users. And they used AI for translation. Similarly, Meta for the social media platform, it used AI to recognize harmful content and abusive content, and used to delete that particular content before it even gets publicly posted. And Netflix and Amazon use the predictive analysis to come up with recommendations for their customers based on their past purchases and their viewing history. So this is how AI used to be existing with the big tech initially, about like a decade ago or something. And at that particular point of time, implementation used to be very resource intensive. It used to require a lot of computational power and efforts, making it a little bit inaccessible for everyone to use. But now there's been so much development and advancements in this space that there are like a lot of out of box tools that are readily available for us to simply integrate it in a plug and play fashion for anyone to simply spin up an application that is powered by AI. We have several open source models and libraries that are designed for specific tasks and for various modern use cases, making it highly accessible for each and every one of us to apply this AI power across various industries. Basically, this has empowered both the small organizations, even the startups that are at like a very early stages, to develop AI powered applications. So let's with these advancements, let's see how AI is actually helping customizing the experiences that we are providing in the education space. So AI is actually taking a crucial role in reshaping the tools and technologies that we use within the education space. It is helping us create interactive and intelligent tools to provide personalized experiences for each and every students that's in a class based on their comprehension levels or specific needs. There are tools such as, or platforms such as adaptive learning platforms that contextualize several data insights, and are equipped to modify the curriculum and make adjustments to it as the student is consuming the educational content that is presented in within their curriculum or in a class or in a different enrollment or whatsoever, based on their pace, performance, and comprehension levels and the teacher's observations. It's just not only the usage or the data driven insights, but also the manual observations and the inputs that are given by the educators and teachers. Now, there are intelligent tutoring systems that are like, these are the tools that provide real time assistance, as in, like, they provide interactive experience, offering guidance at every step of the way, helping students provide personalized instructions and assist them with the problem solving, making sure that they are mastering a specific skill or a concept that is being taught in a specific educational component or a curriculum. Now, these students assess navigate through the entire, it could be for the entire term or for a specific educational course or a component, based on different levels of accesses that are being provided to the students as well as teachers that are offered in the specific programs. Now, there are the other sets of the tools that are existing out there are the content creation and the assessment tools that are way more intelligent, are in understanding the students demographics, performances, and the comprehensions levels. It's the configurations using which you can basically curate this content, and these assessment tools are are vast, basically, meaning that they range from tools that are more focused on curating the educational components that are based on latest innovations or the advancements in the scientific developments or the latest trends, to a few tools that are focused on including cultural and heritage oriented components within the students' curriculum based on their demographics and the ethnicity. So, to that extent, these systems have evolved and are helping us personalize the educational experiences for each and every student. Now, coming to the assessment tools, these tools are like something like a co-pilot or an autopilot that are deployed, or that are helping each student as they progress through each and every education component. They help generate dynamic quizzes and assessments depending on the pace at which they are comprehending the content that is offered to them. If a student is fast enough and is progressing quickly across the schedule of the content, then the quizzes and the assessments that are provided are going to be much more advanced and a little more complex in nature. So that's how it will automatically adjust the assessment methods using which the students' knowledge can be tested. Now that we learned about like these different systems that are being reshaped within the education space, let's take a deeper look at what an adaptive learning platform is and how we are implementing it with the help of a use case that we are currently working on at Benchmark Education. So any personalized experience basically starts with the usability of it. So semantic search is one of that foundational capability that will help students provide or have an interactive experience, meaning that these the students can actually use the LLMs, the large language model that is deployed behind the scenes, which is trained to look up or search for the educational materials such as audio files, video files, or any of that sort that are existing within this knowledge base based on the prompts that were entered by these students. Now, what is knowledge base? Knowledge base is nothing but a simple data store that is that is storing the various types of the educational components that I just explained, such as the PDFs, audio files, images, video files, etc., etc., but are converted into a format called vector embeddings, meaning that a unique way of looking up or an identifier of that particular artifact will be generated based on certain algorithms, and that document will also be embedded within that vector and be stored in a vector database. Now, this particular format will make them available for search that is powered by the LLM. Now, when a student enters a prompt, the prompt gets basically tokenized, and meaning that it gets split into small tokens using which it will be contextualized. When I say contextualized, meaning it will have additional information about where the students is at, what the students is searching about, and which is that educational component that the student is actually on, etc., etc. Different sort of context that will help us locate the useful information for the student will be embedded within that search vector, and that search vector will be passed down to the LLM, using which this LLM responds with related set of documents based on the information that is available within the knowledge base. This this whole process is called a RAG, which is nothing but retrieval augmented generation. Now, now that we have seen how the information is sort of sampled and curated within a knowledge base or a data store, let's take a look at a core engine of the adaptive learning system, as in like how the system is able to adjust the curriculum based on different data aspects and is responsible for customizing it. So, with it as an education provider, we do have a data store or a knowledge base that has this huge amount of collection of data or information of documents that are mapped against each and every queries or the prompts that are being entered by the students. Now, on the other hand, we also have a lot of information that is spread across various tools that are used by the students, such as content metadata. When I say content metadata, what sort of materials are being used, as in like, is the student comfortable in using an audio file, or is the student comfortable in using a video file, or how are what is their comprehension level when they read off of a PDF versus when they read off of a image. So these are all the different content metadata that we capture as the student uses different set of players, as in like to play a video file or an audio file, we have some different set of tools using which this material can be rendered. So that's the usage analytics that we capture into the system. And uh, and the other side of the aspect, like, yes, the student is able to grasp all that information, but how are they understanding it? What is their understanding level, and how are they performing in the assessments, the unit assessments, the midterm assessments, and the term assessments that are being offered to the students? How are they performing? So we look at that assessment data and we capture uh, this holistic data analytics as the learner activity, and we feed that into the machine learning pipeline. So the machine learning pipeline, the first step of the machine learning pipeline is the data processing and the analysis step. So the data pre-processing and analysis step is such a crucial step that will enable us to clean the data format and all that, but it will also provide us an opportunity to derive additional data points using which the decisions of this particular model can be influenced. Now that, like, you can ask me like, how do you know that these are the set of features that would be beneficial for us to produce some decent amount of decisions? Well, nobody knows. It's just based on the experience and the amount of information and amount of experience that you have by spending a lot of time on analyzing different various aspects of data insights, data analytics that you have captured within the system. And once you have it, you basically look at various algorithms. You jump onto the choice of picking up various algorithms or combine multiple algorithms and come up with your own custom models and use this training data set or the data sets that you prepared within that the pre-processor stage to train this model and evaluate it. And then you will know the data that you have prepared is actually be able to train the model well and be able to produce the decisions in a way that you feel like, now that are making sense. Now how do you know if the model is performing well? Meaning that the data that you prepare will be divided into multiple data sets. One is for training the model, another is for validating the decisions that are being produced by this particular model, and then we will use data sets for testing the knowledge that the model has developed. So this is how the data will be divided into different data sets, using which the performance of these models will be evaluated and be trained. Now, for this particular use case, the curation of or the customization of these educational components, the initial set that we or the set of algorithms that we used was to combine the k-means clustering techniques and the random forest classification algorithms to dynamically divide the students into a set of focus groups based on all this metadata, and as well as the teacher observations and the manual inputs that are given by the teacher. And based on those focus groups and the targeted interventions, we basically calculate what we call a learner profile score, using which the educational components are going to be recommended. So this learner profile score will be fed into a system called a recommendation engine that will be covered in the next slide. Now, again, like we are using a custom model that is combining multiple techniques to make sense out of the data that we have and come up with a score, some sort of an algorithm for us to be able to rank and recommend the educational components to the users. We also have combined or sort of adapted various techniques of recommending the educational components. One is called the content-based filtering, which is that, let's say, if a particular student is comfortable in using video type of an education components, then we recommend, or on a specific topic, then we recommend similar resources within that topic, or similar resources of different topics to that are falling in the similar lines of areas of interest, basically, to that specific student. So that's content based filtering. Now for the collaborative filtering, it's like, if there is a student within the same class that has secured or that has mastered certain standards in a specific concept, has read a set of documents. Now, those set of documents will be referred and recommended to a student that is also falling in or following the trajectory of that performance path. So these are the two techniques that are combined, and we created a hybrid recommendation model to come up with the next set of educational components that a student needs to take in as part of their curriculum. Now, these recommendations, we call them as resource recommendations within that curriculum, which is a dashboard wherein, like, hey, you are at this particular level. To get to this particular stage, you take these and these courses. And when you take this course, we evaluate the performance in that particular course one or the suggestion one that is offered. And if the student is able to master it with, like, lightening grades, then we offer more complicated and complex course to test as to how the student is actually performing in within that range of subject, meaning that we will not be offering subjects from a different grade altogether, but rather it will be still part of the same grade, but will be focused on more diverse aspect of standards that are offered within that education space. So that's in a nutshell how the recommendation engine is implemented within the benchmark education. Now, we looked at three foundational blocks of how the adaptive learning system is implemented within education system, and um, we are saying that it is going to provide personalized experience. It is going to help students grasp more and understand more and all that, but Is it really helping? What does that really mean for the students? Well, based on the feedbacks that we received, we collect ratings and feedback for the educational components and the system behavior that we are offering to students and as well as teachers. So based on those feedback, what we understood that the students are more engaged now due to the tailored and personalized and interactive experiences, basically. So the teachers, as in like, simply the students are not bored, like, we used to be in a classroom, if it like we are absolutely sure of what is going to come next and how it is going to be. So these adaptive learning systems are ensuring that a students are not overwhelmed by the complexity of the educational content that is being presented, or b, if the student is well ahead within that curriculum, they are not bored and losing interest that is too easy for them. So that's how it is customizing these experiences for students. Now similarly, these AI powered or AI driven interactive tools can help identify the learning gaps very early on. Like, meaning that if a student is actually struggling with a particular concept, the system can provide additional support, or additional information, finding relative resources at that point of time, without letting the students get to a point where they take the assessments and then they score less grades or they fail or whatsoever. So this helps us avoid such kind of, or offer that a proactive assistance to the students to help them succeed. Now, on the other side of the coin, the teachers now need not wait till the end of the assessment to look at the results to see how the students are performing. They will have the actionable insights that are curated by these data driven insights that will help the educators to divide or sort of, to create those dynamic focused groups for students to provide further intervention and the targeted attention that can be offered by the teachers. So apart from this proactive monitoring and personalized experiences and all that, these AI powered tools are helping educators with auto graders tracking students progress, as in like, if the student is able to complete the course well ahead of the time, then they get assigned a few other resources that are related to it, etc., etc. These automated schedules, as in like, these schedules are now automated with the help of these tools, and are helping or sort of freeing up a lot of time for educators that they can use for focusing on the actual job which is there, which is teaching. So these are all the real time feedback that we gathered from both students as well as educators, to understand how the systems that we deployed in the real time are actually helping, and how we can improvise on top of what we are actually provide today. Now, we have been saying that, these systems are very powerful and intelligent and all that, but and they benefit us in a wide variety of way. But if we are not careful enough, these systems can produce unfair outcomes, as in like, unexpected results. The examples that you see on the screen are a few examples of attacks, as in like the prompt injection that will force your LLMs to produce unexpected results. If you look at the example on the left side, this user has managed to influence the decisioning of that LLM, and was able to potentially make it generate a threat. So these are all a few examples of why we need to be responsible in deploying these intelligent systems, in applying these intelligent systems to the various spaces where we are working on. So the ethical considerations must be at the forefront of the design. um, when coming to, well, talking about the designs and the considerations that you can actually keep a tab on, data privacy is one of such primary concern, and that one has to be very careful about. because we collect a lot of information about students and coming to right from the demographics, ethnicity, preferences, usage analytics, their performances, their understanding patterns, etc., etc. These are all proprietary information, and if we let this information out, this can be used and in all possible malicious ways, which can only do so much harm to the students and the educators. So we got to be extremely careful and need to ensure certain regulations to make sure that the data is protected. And there are the other side of the angle is that because we are providing a lot of this information to these machine learning models, we may end up a scenario wherein we are overfitting the model, as in like, instead of overfitting is a case wherein the machine learning model fails to understand or analyze the patterns of the data and fails to generalize it. Rather, it assumes that it memorizes the data and it assumes that that's the source of truth, and um, it thinks that that is the source of truth, and it will start producing biased and unexpected, inappropriate decisions that are very hard to correct. So that is a process. Overfitting is a process that will fall into the performance tuning of the ML model, which is why the data sets that we talked about earlier, such as the evaluation sets and the test data sets, are need to be thorough in evaluating the decisions that are performed by this ML model. And this has to be a continuous process, as in like, once you deploy the model, it gets to a maturity point, and the decisions will you will see a decline in the way that the graph is actually going. And when you start observing that, it's an indication that the model needs to be trained more and or trained differently using a different data sets, and the feature engineering has to be revisited or whatnot. So these are all the different considerations that one has to be aware of, and one has to be careful about in designing or applying these AI techniques to any space for that matter. But these are the ones that are absolutely needed for the education. Now, to conclude, AI is available in a wide range of applications across various industries. It has it is powering or enabling critical use cases such as disaster predictions, real-time surveillance, damage assessments, etc., etc. With a and it is having a profound influence on millions of lives, and saving a lot of people. But the application of AI in education holds the potential to shape the generations to come. It will basically have, if deployed in a proper way, it will basically will reshape the tools and technologies and the way that we experienced educational system, and will provide better education systems for our children and the generations to come. So I encourage you all to keep exploring in this particular space and keep learning about AI and ML, and understand the new trends and technologies that are transforming the education space. Well, that's the end of my presentation, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Madhu. That was a really great presentation and in-depth presentation, and very insightful, actually. So we have a couple, I received a couple of questions from the audience. We're gonna try to answer them in like 5 or 7 minutes if the time allow us. So the first question is, Madhu, as AI becomes increasingly integrated into educational environments, what best practices would you recommend for educators, institutions, and students to effectively leverage AI in the classroom? Also, how do you see the use of AI for applications like quizzes and personalized learning impacting the overall quality of education?
Um, the the set of tools that I covered as part of the as part of the presentation, such as that intelligent content creation and the assessment tools, these are the well there are like several benefits. Number one is that they are keeping the students more engaged, giving them challenging problems enough and challenging assessments enough. And B, we are able to spot the smart students, or the rock stars of the class or of a particular grade, of a particular concept. Like a student may be so good at science, may be doing average on maths, so you know that the student has like a elevated interest towards science and the other concepts that are involved within that particular subject. So these tools are helping us identify such focused interests and provide them more and more guidance towards, or modify their curriculum and include components related to that specific areas of interest. So that's one of the primary advantage that I have observed so far, working in this particular industry. As of for the educators, within a particular school or like a district, depending on the level of grades that you are teaching as an educator, you may be having different set of or various backgrounds or an educational context that you're coming up with. You may or may not be well versed with all the concepts that AI tool or an AI power tool is capable of explaining. So these tools are actually helping educators to level up the level of education that they are providing in their classrooms. So those are the primary advantages that I have seen or observed so far with the availability of this AI within the education space.
Gotcha. That's a great answer. I have a follow-up but to this question, but you actually answered it about the AI enhanced tools and how they could potentially improve students' outcomes. Another follow-up, will AI complement or potentially replace certain aspect of teaching?
Um, well, there is a concept called assistant professors and assistant teachers, right? And after that, uh, back in those days when there was no internet or whatnot, we used to sit in library and search for like a bunch of books to find out the information that we are looking for. So that's the piece where is AI is targeted to alleviate those problems and make that information readily available for the students by asking a question or a prompt. So probably in like 2050 or like 20 in 3000s, when we get to that point where it may eventually evolve into a place where one, instead of having like multiple educators teaching one or multiple subjects, we can have one expert teaching one subject to multiple classes. That could be an advancement that we can expect within this particular space. The next trends that we are observing within this particular space are connected rooms, as in like the virtual connected rooms, by providing both remote and as well as physical classrooms connected with the both the educators as well as the information, or sort of provide a school like an environment to the remote students or whatnot. So that's the trend that we are heading towards. It's not always about replacing the educators. Nobody can replace educators. No.
Got you. That's really interesting, and thank you for answering all these questions. Panelists, fellow panelists, and speakers, do you have any questions to Madhu? All right. Thank you, Madhu Chavva, Principal Architect and co-founder of CloudPack Inc. for this presentation about leveraging AI and machine learning for digital transformation in education. Please hang out for a little bit. We have interesting fireside chat, and also we have a very interesting topic coming up with our next speaker.